Any questions or anything to say, okay? All right, so for today, we are going to be working on this one, 2.2, Digital Muse for a Beat Poet Part 2. When you press your document open, it will open up and give you a document you can write on, and the button will say submit. You'll press submit when you're finished. That lets me see that you're done. All right, so this is where we're going to talk a little bit about writing, and we're going to look at one particular thing that we can use, a grammar technique we can use in our writing that makes our writing more complex and more interesting immediately. It's called an appositive. An appositive is a noun or a pronoun. Often it has modifiers, which are like words like and or a or the, and it's set beside another noun or pronoun to explain or identify it. So I've given you some examples of appositives, and just to make it really clear, the noun or the pronoun is in blue and the appositive is in red. So here's an example. South Brooklyn Community High School, a noun. A transfer school in Red Hook section of Brooklyn, an appositive, that tells us more specifically exactly what South Brooklyn is, has been open since 2002 in its current iteration. It was actually open in 1980 something as an offshoot of John Jay High School, but it became its own high school in 2002. All right, so do we see how this works? We've got the noun, and then the appositive is put off in parentheses, in commas, and is giving more information about that noun. We see the same thing down here in the second sentence. Sidney King, that's a noun, my name. One of the founding English teachers from that time, lets you know how long I've been teaching at this school, since 2002, and what my subject area is, that I'm an English teacher, all in a positive. Is fascinated by the ways technology can be used to facilitate education. All right, so the appositive is just more information about the noun. It's usually set apart into commas like this. And so now we're going to work to see if we can underline or turn red the appositives in these sentences that are from the intro to the poem that we read yesterday. We'll read the sentence. I'll pause the video, give you a minute to think, and then we'll give you the answers, okay? All right. Days before Stephen P. Jobs, the chief executive of Apple, introduces his next big thing, the consensus holds it will be a sleek tablet computer, I called up Gary Snyder, the beat poet who writes about the American wilderness. Actually, there are two appositives in that one. All right, there are two appositives in that one. All right, so if you chose the chief executive of Apple being the appositive to describe Stephen Jobs, and the beat era poet who writes about the American wilderness to describe Gary Snyder, you were correct. Those are the two appositives. Let's do this one together. In a poem, unpublished and reprinted below with Mr. Snyder's permission, he breathes life into his computer, something that many of us tend to do with the machines that increasingly consume our lives. This one's a little less easy to see, but the poem is the noun, and unprinted and unpublished and reprinted below with the permission is the appositive. It's letting us know that it was okay for them to publish that. All right, so we found two appositives. Now, our job, reread this poem. Annotate what we notice this time. Do we see more meaning? Last time we were just looking to see if we can identify some literary devices. We didn't really analyze them that deep. We did a little analysis at the end. But now I want you to really think, what is the message? What is it about? What is it trying to say? I'll read it again to you, but then we'll come back and we'll write a sentence with an appositive. Should make that red. With an appositive that introduces the poem and says what you think it's about. All right, you've even got some examples up here of how you could do that. In a poem written by Gary Snyder. Name it. A poem, introduces the poem and says what you think it's about. Now, choose a line that supports your thinking and copy it here, and then write what you think that line means and how it proves your thinking is correct, and then choose another line and do that again, and then write a final sentence with one of these sentence starters. And if you follow those steps, you'll have written a pretty well-developed paragraph about this poem, hopefully relatively easy and effortlessly. The key is to make sure you're on the Google Doc, and then all the while we're thinking, is this any better than iLearn? I will be posting this same assignment on iLearn if you prefer to do it there.